Don't get me wrong.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad story, but at least I'm not wearing a red shirt so people thought I'm representing Trump. Oh, you happy now?
I spoke to the president-elect on the phone 48 hours after his victory and asked him what he believes his mandate is. He told me it's to bring common sense back to the country. As for day one, he told me, I think we have a lot of firsts, and brought up strengthening the border. I pressed him on the price tag of his mass deportation plan, which experts say could be in the billions. He told me, quote, it's not a question of price tag. Really, we have no choice. When people have killed and murdered, they're not staying here. There is no price tag.
And just like my previous video, now Mexico is like, yo, people don't go, you better don't do that. And the numbers are going down, which actually means if they didn't do that for about 4 years, should they be paying back the deportation?
And I'd love for you to give Barack Obama perhaps you have something to say to Barack Obama about this.
Well, again, this goes back to Barack Obama a few weeks ago, wagging his finger at black men because they weren't going to vote for Kamala Harris just because of the color of their skin. It was completely nonsensical and insulting to assume that black men and that black Latinos and that other minority groups are stupid. And we're simply going to vote for somebody because of the way they look, even though we cannot afford to live day to day. We are living paycheck to paycheck. We are in record debt. We're in record credit card debt. And you're looking at black people saying, you know what, I want you to forget about all that. I need you to vote for Kamala Harris because she understands the way you live just because of the color of her skin. And they tried this joke for the past 10 years and it's backfired. And by the way, they have let 15, 20 million people into this country legally right there at that southern border in Texas, and you still lost by 15 points. Because we don't believe you. We are living in this economy every single day. And the only thing that we want is to be able to afford to live in this country again. We don't care about race, religion, color, or creed. We just want safety. And that goes for all Americans. That goes for black people, white people, Hispanic people, you name it. We want safety. And Barack Obama whiffed because what is he doing all the time? Identity politics.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
All I have to say is this. Choosing Obama had to represent, it doesn't matter if you have a specific skin color. Then why the heck no? Does it matter that you have the same skin color? That was the point why they choose you. That you were a good option, bro. Oh my God. He messed up. He said Texas was going to be purple. It's freaking red. Pew, purple. Texas is purple? Nah, it's freaking pew. Well, that's not red. Pew. That's not enough. Pew. Where's the freaking red button?
Brother, I understand a couple of generations ago, this was a rough time in this country, but we've come a long way. Look at this country. We are all Americans in the same boat. We've made a lot of progress, and if they don't want to recognize that, as I just said, they're going to continue to lose. By God, keep playing the identity politics game and assuming that people are stupid because we don't understand what's going on in our country.
The more you focus on identity politics, the more indirectly you keep calling them stupid, especially when you don't realize you're calling them stupid.
We want free and fair election. Shout out to Lara Trump and Michael Watley for the way that they handled this election by making sure that we had a free and fair election and we made sure that there was no funding business and no cheating. This was such a decisive victory. And the fact that this was the most expensive race in the history of this country, they outspent us by $1 billion. And President Trump just won the popular vote. He got 312 electoral college votes. Look at that map. The country is now red, and you have nothing to say about it, even though he outperformed her by 5 million points. And you're telling me that Joe Biden got 81 million votes 4 years ago? So the first thing that we need to do is ensure that in perpetuity, we have free and fair elections. And this is the beginning of that. I can respect losing as long as we lose fair and square. And what we have seen in the dichotomy of the last 4 years to electoral map now, how about we just keep this going? How about we keep up the good work? How about we allow people to walk into that booth, show their ID, prove who they are, and then move on? And I'll tell you this too, Benny. These people that play identity politics also assume that people of color and black people are stupid, as if we can't get a government ID to vote. And the reason why they do this is because they are playing black people to continue to vote for them because they want illegals to vote in this country. So first of all, let's clean up our voter rolls. Let's be responsible. I have to have an ID to go buy some milk for my family. So to vote is a much higher standard. Let's assume that people are responsible enough to attain a government-issued ID, and let's talk about common sense, fair voting law.
And let's play a game here. Let's 100% believe the vote count in 2020. All right, libs, hear me out.
Okay.
I believe you. Joe Biden got 82 million votes.
Yep.
I believe you. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play this game. We'll play your game, lib.
Oh, this pesky math. Look at this math.
Where the hell did they go? Exactly. Somebody explain that to me.
Where'd they go?
Here's your votes this election. It's only 4 years. Where'd they go? So clearly what you're admitting here is that this is the single greatest political failure in American history, where nigh on 20 million people decided not to vote for you in the time span of 20 years. Can somebody explain that to me?
After we got outspent by an additional $1 billion. This was the most expensive race in the history of this country. They were villainizing us. This is actually probably the most aware the American public has been about voting a couple of days ago. And you're telling me that 20 million people just evaporated? They just didn't show up? That's the question that we have got to ask. Where did they go?
I don't know where the votes have gone. I just know where my eyes have gone. Ta-ta.
Ellos me dijeron, textualmente me dijeron, tú sabes que no puedes acabar con el crimen de un solo. Yo le dije, ¿por qué? Y me dijeron, no por la capacidad técnica de acabarlo, sino por el golpe en la economía. Y yo le dije, ¿pero cuál golpe en la economía? Bueno, ¿cuántos pandilleros tienen? Y el 70,000. Son 70,000 empleos. Porque esa gente que gana dinero de manera ilícita, está mal, pero luego ese dinero va al hogar y luego el hogar lo gasta de manera lícita.
What?
Ese hogar compra pañales para los bebés, comida para los niños, paga alquiler, luz eléctrica, teléfono, cable, internet, ropa, cerveza, la motocicleta, gasolina, saldo de celular, etcétera. Toda esa economía se va a caer de un solo y no va a haber una economía paralela legal que lo reemplace a la misma velocidad. Entonces hay que acabar, me dijo él en ese tiempo, con el crimen poco a poco para que la economía poco a poco vaya compensando la economía criminal.
That is a very unique solution. This guy just wanted to fix his country, but America seems to tell him, hey, you have to be a Western country. And that wasn't working for him anymore. And he took action because the gang violence was deleting more people than the amount of babies being born. And now it's one of the safest countries. I know Salvadorian people are like, hey, I can finally go back and walk outside. I can be normal in my own country. I can play hide and seek without slipping on blood.
Ese tipo de teorías que suenan bien para los intelectuales no aplican a la realidad. La realidad es que el crimen es crimen, punto. Y si uno lo permite, siempre van a ganar ellos en la guerra de los incentivos. Porque si viene alguien, un joven, y dice, bueno, yo no tengo muchas oportunidades, voy a vender tomates en el mercado. Vender tomates en el mercado debe ser duro. Para empezar, no es algo divertido, no es algo de lo que me siento orgulloso. Tengo que ir, cargar los tomates en el sol, llevar, venderlos, estar en un lugar tal vez no en las mejores condiciones. Vender los tomates, se me van a arruinar, el producto ni siquiera es mío, tal vez lo tengo en consignación, si me arruinan me los cobran. Al final logro vender y me logro ganar $5. Y luego voy camino a la casa, llega el pandillero y me dice, a ver mis $5. Entonces el incentivo está sobre el joven para ser pandillero y colectar los $5 y no ir a vender tomates para tal vez ganar $5 para dárselos al pandillero. Entonces nunca se va a ganar la guerra de incentivos. Entonces nosotros entendimos a la fuerza y con golpes que la única forma era ir tras el pandillero y arrestarlo. No para castigarlo, sino para sacarlo de la sociedad. Él tiene que estar fuera de la ecuación.
And then they're going to say, yeah, but that's anecdotal. I know a country that did have the same experience. Maybe they weren't that strict with the criminal.
Entonces nosotros aceptamos pagar el costo económico. Y nosotros calculábamos, no en la parte financiera, sino desde el gabinete de seguridad, que íbamos a tener un costo de un 10% del PIB. Sí, iba a caer nuestro PIB 10% para acabar con la delincuencia. Nuestro PIB no cayó 10%, subió 3.5%.
Looking for? That is my question. I'll start with you.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
It would
Like what? What?
absolve
Wow.
her from being able to, from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats
Okay, this
operate.
is now jump.
Let's make the moment. We're going to make you president for a few months, but at least we can say there is a black woman president because the only... Why do you guys like these emotional figures that have no meaning? That's why you are in that position, trying to get emotional wins with no meaning.
I feel like I have a unique perspective with this whole election thing because I used to be very, very far left. Like, I was one of the people having a fucking mental breakdown in 2016 when he won, right? And I didn't even like him up until 6 months ago when it became very obvious that they were like staging a coup and tried to assassinate him, and then some shit started clicking. So I'm still very new to like this whole side of things. But the thing is, like, when I was very far left, like radically far left, I thought I knew what was going on. Like, I genuinely believed I was informed. I thought I knew better than everybody else. And that's what these people think too. And the thing is I would get so triggered and so angry when people would question me because I didn't actually know what the hell I was talking about. Like, I thought I did, but really, I didn't actually know any policies. I didn't actually know any politics. All I actually knew was what I had seen online in mainstream media. And because everybody was saying, I just assumed it had to be right? And I think where a lot of this comes from is like, people just don't want to be wrong. Like, it's humbling and it's embarrassing to acknowledge that you were wrong or that you didn't know as much as you thought you did. But I would get so defensive and fly off the handle whenever somebody would question me because I didn't actually have any talking points. And the talking points I did have were inaccurate. But I didn't want to be wrong. So I just kept regurgitating. I just kept echoing the same shit that I was hearing over and over again.
The only reason this mesmerizing thing is disappearing is when people realize, what the heck, they're the popular vote? So I guess I'm in the echo chamber.
Mr. Holman, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect...
And ladies and gentlemen, meet the person that's going to replace the vice president as the new border czar.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not advocating for separation. I'm just advocating for the fact that if you commit a crime, maybe they should send you back. But Democrats don't want that because that's their vote. And because they're in an echo chamber, now they're not the popular vote.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush, hash, purple, skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, durloqueta, verdetta, welcome.